What's up, everybody? This is the PlayStation Lifestyle Underground podcast. We are the greatest and only unofficial podcast of PlayStationLifestyle.net. I am Hugo Stiglitz. You can find me on PSN as Hugo Stiglitz _420. And we're doing a two-man show again. You want to say hi, Steve?
Yeah, I'm Steve Bitto. I'm community manager for PlayStation Lifestyle. And you can find me on the forums as Steven Bitto or on PlayStation Network as TYLERxDURDEN.
Awesome. And what I have been playing is still some Metal Gear Solid 5, but I finished the main story about a week ago, so I actually have been playing some other stuff as well. I've been playing Project Cars, a little bit of Killzone, Drive Club, Rocket League, trying to get into Bloodborne because of the recent news, which we'll talk about later. A little bit of Batman. I tried out the new the Tumbler DLC and the other Batmobile thing, which I actually really like the races in Batman Arkham Knight. They're pretty fun to do, and I kind of like the theme. F1 2015, and then on Vita, I've been playing kind of a little bit of everything, but I've been trying to hammer away at Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate because I want to finish it and then clear some space on my always full memory card. I got a 64 gigabyte. It's still always full. So trying to free some space on there. Also a little bit of Killzone and stuff as always. But 2 days ago I got Soma, which so far was really awesome, but I've been so busy lately I haven't been able to play it at all, really. So I'm very much looking forward to getting into that after we do this podcast. But that is about it for me.
Yeah, so I haven't played a whole lot of stuff. I've been pretty busy in real life, but I did last weekend. I went out and I purchased Beyond Two Souls because talking about like Quantic Dream on this podcast, which I think we might do a little bit later, and just kind of getting pumped for whatever they have next. I really wanted to try it because I had never actually played it at all. So I picked that up, checked it out. I'm about 2 hours in, maybe 3 hours in. I'm really enjoying it so far. I do see like people's problems with it. It does a couple things really poorly, I think, and I think that's really unfortunate because I think they're kind of unnecessary. But it's kind of irrelevant, I guess. But I also am planning on picking up Soma. The only thing that worries me is I hear that there's puzzles that are like not clear, and I already don't really enjoy like complicated puzzles that take time, So I don't know. I'm a little on the fence about getting it.
Yeah, see, I like difficult puzzles if they're solvable. You know what I mean? But if it's just like a frustrating kind of thing, I'll just look it up. And since it's on PS4, it'll be easy for me to just go over to my laptop and look it up real quick. So not really an issue for me. I've heard that the story's very good, which I'm definitely excited about. Because I was a little on the fence about getting it since it's $30, which I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a little much, but so far, I mean, the atmosphere seems awesome. I haven't really hit the meat of it yet, but the story has been cool so far. It's definitely a very interesting setup, and the very limited experience I've had with some of the scares has been good. It hasn't been any real scares yet, but it's just been more atmospheric, and it's definitely as intense as I would hope. Although I have heard that it's not as scary as Amnesia, which I didn't find very scary, so I don't know. I guess I won't be super disappointed if it's not super scary, but I just want to enjoy the ride. I usually don't get scared by scary video games anyways, for the most part. There are some that have got me, but
I kind of like the psychological approach to it as well. Because there's something about like Dead Space that kind of just and it kind of has that same look and feel where it's not so much the jump scares that it is just like the moment to moment, just being kind of scary, being alone on that type of setting.
Yeah, I like the horror games that are really intense and They really make you think about your actions as if you're like really there. And that's one reason I'm looking forward to this, because it seems like it'll be like that, like Alien Isolation, which never really scared the crap out of me per se, but it just was super intense at some points, and it was just really enjoyable experience. I'm hoping this game will be like that, and not, I don't think there's going to be a ton of jump scares, but if there is, that's fine too. Like I really enjoyed Outlast, and that had a ton of them.
Right.
It's and Dead Space, which did have quite a bit, although for some reason the first one didn't really scare me at all. It's probably because I heard that it was wicked scary, and the second one, though, just because of knowing the first one, it scared the hell out of me because I wasn't expecting it to. So it's kind of like, the psychological type of scaring, it definitely seems to be more effective than just jump scares,
Right.
But yeah, so I'm looking forward to playing that. But our news topic is actually going to be our regular topic as well, because as many might know, recently was Tokyo Game Show, one of the bigger conferences of the year, and we just wanted to discuss some of the news that came out of that, mostly PlayStation related stuff, although there are some others. I guess to start it off is PlayStation Morpheus is no longer Morpheus. Now it's PlayStation VR. I kind of like Morpheus better. What do you think about the new name?
I think I only like Morpheus because they've called it that for so long, I definitely agree that PlayStation VR is almost the name you have to call it to really gain like traction on like in a commercial or something like that. So people know, without question, this is what you're selling. PlayStation Morpheus is, I could see someone saying, yeah, but what is it? Even if they see the headset.
Yeah.
So, I just don't understand why such a simple name took this long to switch over to. The real time to do this would have been at E3.
Yeah, that's true. It is kind of weird that they didn't do that at E3 and waited till now. And it does make sense as far as a name, but I just really liked Morpheus better just because of the Matrix and the whole, linkage to that, and also the Greek god of dreams. I think that's what Morpheus is, something like that.
Right.
So it's like I always really liked the Morpheus name. I thought it was really cool that they made a reference to the Matrix and the Greek god. I don't know which they would say it would be, but I have a feeling that it has a lot to do with the Matrix, which was an awesome movie and awesome character.
Right.
So I tend to like that one, but PlayStation VR does make sense. But I still really like the Morpheus name from the start. Like right when I heard that, I was like, "Oh, that's awesome!" As a nod to the Matrix and stuff. But some unfortunate news I've heard about it is that they were talking in an interview, and they mentioned that they might be pricing it as like a separate console, which to me is insane.
That is what they said. Yeah. So I would imagine I would expect $300 price tag.
Yeah, see, I even think that's too much. Like, but even worse would be if they tried to do 400. That would just be insane. Like, that'd be like.
No, I don't think they could ever do that. That one.
I hope not.
I don't know if they could sell any.
Yeah, I don't think, and nor should they. That would be like, it kind of reminds me of the whole PS3 launch mentality.
Right.
Except possibly even worse, because the PS3, there were reasons why it cost that much. Like it was like very expensive to make, just because of the Bluray and the cell processor.
I think they were still losing like $200 per console at that point.
Yeah,
it was like it cost like $800 something to make.
And so it's like there was understandable for PlayStation VR to be 400. That's not understandable, even if it bundled the PlayStation camera, which you do need. And the only way I can see 300 being acceptable is if it's bundled with the PlayStation camera. Otherwise, I'd say 250 at most for the VR itself. I'd really rather it be 200 for the PlayStation VR, and then $250 for the bundle with the PlayStation camera, if they are going to bundle it, which would make sense because you need it. So hopefully that's the case, like that they're going to include the PlayStation camera, and that's why it's going to cost almost as much as a console. So because if it's $200, day one for me, just on racing games alone, like I'll get a lot of use out of it just from that. Not to mention all the other games they have coming out that'll back it up. And it's like, although Sony might, do what they did with the Vita and stop supporting it if it isn't a huge success, but I don't really see that happening. I think if it's priced correctly, I think it's going to be a huge hit, just because it means VR. Like, VR could really be a huge thing in gaming, and it all depends on how well it's implemented and supported. But just for me personally, racing games alone, it's a day one buy for me. As long as the price isn't ridiculous.
Right. I think I will probably get one day one as well. The main question for me though is how are they going to market this with like blockbuster games? Like, and how are you going to make content for this without taking away from the PS4's content? Because that's kind of what happened with PlayStation Move and Vita, really. The main console was too big of a moneymaker to really pull too much resources away from it.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's what killed both the Vita and the PlayStation Move, is that they just couldn't justify taking too much away from, home console development to really bolster their lineups. And as time went on, they just had to give up.
Yeah, I think it's all about money and sales for them, and like they're not they're in debt and stuff. I think they're less likely to take risks, which is what they really needed to do with the Vita. Like, if they actually supported it properly, I think it would have sold double what it has, but it would also be a risk for them to do that because just because of how it was selling. But I think that would have been the right thing to do, but they just didn't because they couldn't really afford to. Especially
what I'm
with
shocked
PS4
about with the Vita
coming
is
out.
that they never really cut the price. Why did they not just go all in, $120 or $125, bundle it with Uncharted Golden Abyss?
Even $150. Like, I think they should at least dropped it to $150. Because I think that's what 3DS did.
Like Killzone Mercenary and Uncharted Golden Abyss, those will sell consoles, units, I guess in this case. If you put it out there, put it at Best Buy with Killzone Mercenary on the big screen playing through the Vita, or can you do that on PS TV?
Yeah, not Uncharted though.
Yeah, not Uncharted. But yeah, put that stuff on the big screen so people think that's what they're getting, kind of. $125, you'll sell them, especially at Christmas time. People see that, they think it's cool. They already have a PS4. Why not?
Yeah, especially because it pairs with the PS4 well, and the whole remote play idea. People will think that I might be able to do this when I'm on the road and still play PS4, not realizing that you have to have a very strong internet connection at both ends to actually do that.
Yeah.
But if you do, it's an amazing function of the Vita, and then plus it's definitely lacking in AAA, but there are a ton of games overall for the Vita. Like I have a huge backlog on the Vita, so it's like the Vita's a great console, but it just it's the one thing that really makes me hate Sony sometimes because of the way they treat it. And speaking of that, Gravity Rush 2. No longer going to be a Vita game. They're doing a remaster of Gravity Rush for the PS4. Which I understand, especially since Gravity Rush 2 is coming off of PS4, but it does really piss me off that they're not making it for the Vita anymore, even though it was announced as a Vita game. So that's why I won't be buying it, either of them. Just because I'm not going to support.
It was kind of anticipated just because of the delay I mean, it kind of just.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the rumor like coming out of the industry. It was that the reason why it was delayed is because they were transitioning the series from Vita to PS4, especially when the PS4 took off. And
Yeah.
I don't really blame them at this point. I don't mind that much. It doesn't make me that upset. I kind of expected it, and frankly, I mean, I think we'll get a better game because they're going to be able to invest more resources in it now. So, I mean, it does suck that the Vita is pretty much, the final nails in its coffin are Tearaway and Gravity Rush coming to PS4 instead. But
yeah,
I mean, I guess that's just kind of the reality of the situation at this point.
My problem with it is that they're bringing it to PS4, which obviously means they're going to make more money on it and they can put more resources into it. So why can't they still create the Vita port? Because the game is clearly designed for the Vita. I mean, even the PS4 version, which they say is, it's upgraded to the point where PS Vita can't handle it. It's horseshit. I mean, just look at the trailer. It's obvious that that's a Vita game upgraded for PS4. It's just a matter of them giving up on Vita, pretty much. Like, they no longer care, and I see it as a big middle finger to all the people that own Vita and still support Vita and still want games for it, like myself. That's why I won't be supporting it. Let's get out of the gutter and start talking about something positive. Bloodborne, Old Hunters, November 24th.
Yeah, I was really happy they announced this because I was surprised that E3 came and went without this announcement, just because Shuhei had kind of mentioned that they were working on stuff like this, like an expansion.
Yeah.
And I thought for sure E3 would be the perfect time, because it was it like 4 or 5 months after the game came out, and people were like just starting to get really thirsty for a little bit more.
Yeah.
But clearly, I mean, with the response to this, it didn't matter. Like, people are just as thirsty now as they were 4 months ago, 3 months ago.
Totally. If Bloodborne came out in March, and then E3 was in June. Right. So I guess it's only 3 months. So I do kind of understand why they weren't ready to show it like just 3 months later, and also because apparently it was originally going to be 2 separate DLCs. And they turned it into one. So I think that is probably the reason why they weren't ready at E3 to show it. But I'm happy because although I knew it was definitely coming, it's just nicer to find out about it and then it be so close. Like, it's only a month and a half away, which is, I always like that when things are announced and they're coming out very soon. Unlike The Witness, which was announced and we're still going to have to wait till next year to play it. Which has been one of the worst delayed indie games I've ever seen. Like, it doesn't compare to stuff like Duke Nukem, Forever or whatever it was called, or The Last Guardian, but it's still like it's just kind of mind-boggling how long they've delayed that. When they said a year ago the same thing they just said the other day when they announced the release date, that we're just putting some finishing touches on it. It's like, you said that a year ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're still it's still not going to be out for another 6 months.
It was nice to see it again this week, though.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm excited about playing it. I'm not like super excited about it being 100 hours long, which probably means that I might not finish it. But I'm definitely excited to play it. I mean, it looks really cool, and I love puzzle games. So yeah.
With Bloodborne, though, back to Bloodborne real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there will be a Bloodborne 2?
I'm not sure. Like, I wouldn't be super surprised if there wasn't, but I actually do think there will, just because of how successful it was on PS4. Personally, I think Bloodborne will help boost Dark Souls 3 sales a little bit, but I don't think it's gonna boost the sales any. I think if Bloodborne, especially for someone like me, might actually hurt sales of Dark Souls 3, because I'm not gonna get Dark Souls 3 just because I'd rather play Bloodborne. And I think that I'm probably not alone on that. Like, I did like Demon Souls, but in general, I just think Bloodborne is a lot better and more fun to play than the regular Souls series. So hopefully, the From Software sees that and then decides to make another deal with Sony to, get some help from Studio Japan to make Bloodborne 2. I would assume that it's probably going to stay exclusive, but maybe it won't. Maybe, part of the reason they'll make Bloodborne 2 is because they want to get it out to more audiences, which is another reason they could decide to make a second one. But I guess I wouldn't be super shocked if they didn't make a sequel.
See, that I don't think will happen. I don't think they would make it multi-platform. I think if they make another multi-platform game, they may just make a new franchise.
Yeah, I guess so.
Just because, actually, I mean, it's hard to say. I don't know. It's hard to tell how much control over the franchise Bloodborne Sony has.
Yeah,
they may own the IP actually.
Oh, if that's the case, then yeah, there's no way it's going multi-platform. I wasn't sure. I do know that Studio Japan did have a pretty large hand in helping to develop it, but yeah, I don't know. I was kind of under the impression that it was mostly a From Software game.
I honestly don't know the answer to that question. They could. I'm really not sure.
Yeah, it would be cool to see another one. Although I still haven't even finished the first one. Have you?
No, not even close. I gave up.
Oh, damn.
Sadly, I just don't have the time.
I'm going to before the Old Hunters comes out. I mean, I guess I'm somewhat close to the end. I'm on the boss Michael Lash, host of the Nightmare, which I guess is somewhat close to the end. Apparently, as far as I know, I think there's only a couple bosses after, unless you include optional bosses. Then there is a few extras, but yeah, there's still a lot of game to play for me, and it's I really love the game. It's just other stuff came out, and I'm really rusty at playing it. So when I go back, I get my ass kicked badly. So it's I think what I'll do is go back, start doing some of the Chalice dungeons, because I've only done one so far, so they're much easier level than what I'm at. So that'll be a good way to warm up and then beat Michael Ash, which I almost did the first time I fought him, and then since then he keeps one-shotting me like a douche. But yeah, I love the game, and I definitely want to give it more time. It's a hugely deep game. It's pretty amazing how much content's there, and the breadth of the whole experience. The whole Chalice Dungeons thing, to me, I think could have been the expansion DLC. It's that huge of an addition onto the game, I think. And also, it's I've barely touched any of the online stuff as far as playing with other players or invading other players. I have been invaded a couple times because there's one level where it's just automatically there until you shut it off, because you have to go find one of the Bell Maidens and kill her before they'll stop invading your games. So, but other than that, I've done nothing with the online stuff. And it's there's just so much more to try with the game, and then the expansion comes out. So it's there's just so many good games out. It's hard to play everything now. I think neither of us have enough time to do that, even if either way. So right. Yeah, I guess it is a good problem to have, too many good games. But some other news out of the conference was I guess the PS4 is getting a price drop in Japan. And right. Of course that leads a lot of people to say, "Oh, is Sony going to do a price drop in North America?" And I definitely don't think so, and nor do I think they should. No. At this point, $400 is a great price. It was from the start, and I think they've earned the right to kind of hold on to that price for a little while. I wouldn't be surprised if even through next holiday season they kept the price. Although I'm sure the bundles will be a little better next holiday season, but I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see a price drop for another 2 years from now.
See, what I expect is I think they have a very strong plan in place of when they're going to price drop, and I think it has absolutely nothing to do with demand, sales, anything. I think they just have a a strategy in mind so that they never lose momentum. So they're gonna. I expect it to be 400 past Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
And maybe like I don't know. I don't know like the release schedule next year yet, so it's kind of hard to say. But I would expect they're gonna come out with a big first party bundle, maybe going into summer or after summer, like September. That's when I would expect it, or maybe October or something like that. Like some big game is gonna come out, and that's when they'll drop it. Or maybe it'll be like a month of games.
What I think they might do is upgrade the base $400 PS4 to 1 terabyte, which they are selling those in Europe, and I guess the Uncharted collection bundle with the 1 terabyte got a price drop, but they said that's not permanent. But I could see them doing that. But other than that, like, I'd be surprised if they drop the price. I mean, unless they drop the price for the 500 gigabyte model. When PlayStation VR comes out. That I could see happening, but even that I would be a little surprised if it did happen. Would make sense, but I think they're going to hold on to the $400 price tag for a while because it makes sense. I mean, there's not really any need to drop the price when they're this far in the league. It was already a reasonable price, and especially with all the huge games that are coming out next year. Like, so, yeah, it is kind of funny when people mention that, like, they should drop the price, because it's really not the case. They don't need to, and nor should they. But also they showed some, like, they're doing some more colors for controllers and faceplates. Personally, I already have 2 controllers, so I don't care. But I really like that first faceplate thing they did with, like, they had an Order faceplate, a Bloodborne one, but those things sold out instantly. Now you got assholes on eBay selling them for $100 at least, and the whole project is still in beta. Like, they came out with that, they said it's in the beta stage, they've done nothing with it since, really. And it's a shame because it's like, I think they could actually make a lot of money, especially because they're charging $25 each. If they started creating more faceplates with more games and get it out of the beta stage, like, I mean, obviously it was a success.
Yeah, it's funny, like you said, like, there's such a demand. Like, so why are they not doing that? Why are they not pursuing that?
Yeah, I don't understand it. Like, it's a shame because it's like they could easily make a lot of money off it. I mean, they've already sold stuff out, like, instantly, except for Little Big Planet 3. That's the only faceplate that didn't sell out super quick. But it's like the Order, the Bloodborne, like, those things sold out instantly, and it's like, this guy would kill for a Killzone one. You know what I mean? Like, or just an Uncharted or Gran Turismo. It's like, there's so many that I would want. Like, I'd probably just get one and stick with that, but it's just like, they're not even offered. Like, I mean, you could get those stickers and stuff, but I don't really trust those. I've never really messed around with those things. The whole wraps they make that, like, you know, you just stick it on there and stuff, and it's like, yeah, I don't even want to mess with those. But it's like a shame that Sony is coming out with these colors, which instead of coming out with game faceplates, which would really make a lot of money. Like, I don't think the color ones are going to make a ton of money, except that, you know, maybe outside of Japan, I guess they really like that stuff, which is why they always get it first. But I think in North America, the Project Skylight is going to have a lot of success, but they're not even pushing it. They're not even trying to make the thing, so it's kind of weird that they even did it in the first place. But yeah, in some other news, they did show more of Metal Gear Online, which is looking really, really cool. I guess the promised Camp Omega, which is the map from Ground Zeroes, is going to be a part of that, which is why it's not in the game, even though they said it would be. I guess it's going to be a part of Metal Gear Online. They also showed some really cool costume DLC, and I don't know what the costume was for, whether it's for Quiet, but they had costumes for Ava from Metal Gear Solid 3 and the boss, which is, to me, is the coolest one, because the boss is a badass and probably my favorite character outside of Solid Snake. So yeah, it's looking really, really good, the whole Metal Gear Online thing, and I'm hoping it'll be as good as it looks and not totally imbalanced and not fun. But it's like I never got to try the Metal Gear Online for Metal Gear Solid 4, so I have no idea what it'll be like, to be honest. But I love the main game, so hopefully that'll be good. Did you get to play Metal Gear Online on 4 at all, or?
No, I've never played any of the Metal Gears, so I never even tried it out. I actually did have I don't know if it was an online demo or an online beta for the one for 4, but I never actually signed it and actually tried it.
Oh, that's too bad. And also, The Last Guardian sort of was at TGS, but apparently it was just this big interactive display of Trico that would respond to you if you walked up to it and stuff, but that was about it. They didn't show any more demos or anything like that. I mean, unless there was some stuff behind closed doors, but as far as I know, that didn't happen. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that game, and I just really hope that it's actually ready next year. It better be. I mean, I guess another video game coming to PS4 is Danganronpa 3. But luckily it will also be on Vita, but they're gonna be putting it on PS4 as well, which I think is cool. Like I've never played it, but I hear a lot of good things about that series. A lot of people really love it. So I think it's a good thing that it's also coming to PS4, but not
I'd be
abandoning
surprised
the
if
Vita.
they didn't bring 1 and 2 over as well.
Yeah, it would make sense.
I
Right
mean,
now,
if you're going to bring over Gravity Rush, it seems like Danganronpa would be way easier to transport over. I mean, there's barely any, I don't know, processing strength there. It's just pretty simple.
is it?
There's not much to it, I don't think.
Yeah, I think it's like a RPG. So they have been pretty busy making 1, 2, and 3. So I guess I understand it because I mean those games have come out pretty quickly. I think the first one only came out like a year ago or so, and then they came out with the second one.
I think there's
so it's like it seems like they've been working. Yeah.
As well.
It seems like they've been working pretty fast, like they working nonstop on that series. So I guess I understand that they're not ready to do remasters or ports to the PS4 yet, but they probably will eventually. And also at TGS, no surprise to a lot of people, but Persona 5 is delayed to next year. I've never tried the Persona series, but I've heard tons of good things about it. Supposedly Persona 4 Golden is the best game on Vita, according to a lot of people.
I didn't like it. I know I'm in the minority on that, but I did not like it.
Yeah, it seems like it's the type of game that isn't for everybody. Like, that's why I haven't got it, because it just seemed, the whole premise of it to me just seems like it's something I wouldn't like. Also, I mean, it's a JRPG, so it's like that's also not for everybody, but for the people who like that sort of thing, they do say it's an incredibly good series, but it's
I like JRPGs,
also,
but this was just, there was like,
didn't like it.
I don't know, I did not like the way it was set up at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's supposedly
there's such a focus on like your relationships with other people, but it's so forced, because it's old as PS2. So the whole the setup, I'm sure, was really like progressive at the time, but now it just feels a little. It's way short of where we're at, so I didn't like it very much.
Yeah, the whole idea of boosting relationships with people seems really lame to me. I mean, even if they're
really lame. I don't understand how people feel any depth to it because it's so unrealistic and silly.
Yeah,
I
don't get it either.
We have real relationships with real people. And people say that's so deep. I don't feel like it's deep at all.
Yeah, plus it's supposed to be like 100-hour game or more or something, which is another reason.
I think it took me like 60 hours or 55, 60 hours, and I kind of sped through it.
Mm-hmm. Damn. Yeah, even that is a lot of time. Like, I cruised through Metal Gear Solid 5 at over 110 hours, but even that's only because I was like hooked, completely hooked. Normally that would take me months to do. I'm just like, you hear it every week when we say what games we've been playing. I jump around a ton. So it takes a lot for a game to hook me to the point where I could ever complete a 100-hour game. So it's like, yeah, there's not a whole lot of 100-hour games that I'm interested in even trying to play, just because I just don't have time. Although I would love to play The Witcher 3 someday. It's just that I don't even know if I'll ever have time for that either. Like, I hope I do, because it does seem like an awesome game, but it's like even Bloodborne. I love Bloodborne. I still haven't finished it. I probably have put in 80 or 100 hours into it, because I suck. And it's like a lot of people can beat it in 40 hours, not me. The same thing with Metal Gear Solid 5. Like, some people beat it in 30 hours. It took me over 100. Just because of the way, like, I was very meticulous about the way I played it, and yeah, so it's like really long games are kind of unattractive to me. So it's like not a ton of like huge news for me personally out of TGS. They did announce there's going to be a Hot Shots Golf for PS4, which I think is cool. It's nice to see that series returning. There's a lot of people that really like it. Also, they did show some of this new Resident Evil game, and apparently it's going to be like an online-only multiplayer game, which is kind of strange.
It's baffling, because they made Operation Raccoon City, and that game flopped.
Hardcore, yeah.
Yeah, no one even... I mean, I think outside of the week it came out, it never got mentioned again, basically.
Yeah.
My brother
was that strictly online, though?
I don't know if it was online. It had to have been on PS3.
I know it had online, but I didn't. I thought that there was also like a single player component to it.
Yeah, there was single player for sure, but it was very similar, where it was like a squad based against people and zombies type thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, the online, it wasn't about like the zombies as much as it was about the other people. It was about like and it's very similar to what this is like the zombies were a secondary threat, you know?
It seems like it, and it's like I just find it funny why, like, I have no problem with them making a game like that, but why do they have to? Well, I know why, but it's like, I mean, they attaching the name Resident Evil to it is kind of a little weird, just because it doesn't really seem like Resident Evil at all, except for the zombies. But it's like, it's probably their biggest name, or one of their biggest series, so it does make sense why they're putting the name on it, so it'll sell more. But it seems like the type of game that probably should just be a separate series or a new IP. And they did say it's not going to be a full price game. But I think I could easily see it being a free-to-play title, I guess. But I guess it is kind of better that it's not going to be free-to-play, just because, I mean, I would think it would be better to spend $20 on it than to get it free-to-play and then have a bunch of crappy microtransactions on it, which a lot of games do. There's very few free-to-play games that are, not lessened by the fact that they're free-to-play and microtransactions.
Right.
But... speaking of Capcom and free-to-play, still no sign of Deep Down.
No, I think that game's gone. I think it's...
I really hope not, because it looked really cool. But, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they canceled it completely. But, I think since The Witness finally has a release date, Deep Down is the last game from the PlayStation reveal that hasn't came out or been given a release date.
Yeah, I imagine it's canceled just because, and I feel like part of it was that free to play, kind of structure they try to put on it, which, I mean, it just didn't look like that type of game. It just kind of looked like Bloodborne a little bit.
Yeah. which is what attracted me to it. Plus the really good graphics. But yeah, I don't know whether Sony has stopped funding for it or is just not pushing for it, or if Capcom is. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it, but it is a shame because it did actually look pretty cool. So, but I mean, hopefully they somehow turn it around. But yeah, it's looking more and more like it's just gonna be canceled.
Yeah,
It's turning into
I wonder if
vaporware.
part of it is like PlayStation 4 owners have kind of rejected free to play a little bit.
You
All
think
those
so?
free to
Because
play
I mean,
games
there are a lot of free to play games that are doing really really well.
on PS4.
Like, yeah,
Really?
like Warframe.
Is
Warframe
that?
isn't even a good one in my opinion, and it's doing extremely well.
Oh,
Blacklight
really?
Retribution's doing very well. War Thunder's doing well. I think DC Universe has been doing well since PS3, and it's still carrying over to PS4.
I know
Planet
DC
Side 2 is
Universe
doing
is
well.
still going. DC Universe, I
Yeah,
think, still gets expansions.
yeah,
I just
yeah.
got
I
an
think it
email about one
does.
not that long ago. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean a lot of the free to play games are still being fully supported,
Oh wow.
and
Well, I didn't know that. I guess it's because I don't play them,
yeah,
but
yeah. I don't even know why I still have Warframe installed, but it's like I never really liked it. It was like Destiny except worse, and pay to win. But
yeah.
Blacklight Retribution is actually a solid competitive shooter. War Thunder is an amazing free to play game. It's one of the best examples of not pay to win. It also is one of the best examples of a free to play game with a lot of free content to unlock, and it's like a very deep game. It's like almost two games in one, just because of the arcade mode is like an arcade flying game, which you'd expect, but the simulator mode is like a full on flight sim. I mean, at least as far as I know, I don't have a ton of experience with them, but it's like it takes a ton of finesse just to keep the plane in the air. Like it's actually really cool. But yeah, it seems like it's doing really well. Like there's every time I check online, there's like 40,000 players on it pretty regularly, like on the server playing at any time. So which is pretty huge numbers for a free to play game. But yeah, other than that, out of TGS, there's not a ton of announcements. I think Sony is saving a lot for Paris Games Week,
Yeah, I think you're right.
which
I
if
think
some of the
I
rumors
think
are.
yeah, they gave Japan like the stuff that's specific to them.
Mm-hmm.
Although it wasn't that huge of stuff. I mean, Star Ocean 5 and Persona 5 we knew about already.
Yeah,
Yakuza, I mean, I'm sure that wasn't a big reveal. I mean, I'm sure the Japanese knew about that because it seems like they come out all the time over there.
yeah. I think it already was announced too. I think they just showed
Yeah.
more, if I'm not mistaken. But also, I guess apparently they did show a live demo of Horizon Zero Dawn, which seemed pretty cool. I guess it's the same. It looked like the same exact demo they probably
Right.
did at closed doors at E3.
I
Um,
watched our video and I noticed that it was pretty much the same thing.
yeah, yeah. I mean, plus it was
Different,
from the
it was live,
crowd,
like you said,
kind of
but
low quality.
different.
So yeah, I mean, super excited about that game, and hopefully, yeah, they can get it out next year and fix some of the issues. Which I mean, like the demo seemed pretty flawless, except for there was definitely a lot of pop in on the trees in the background, and I think they will know how to fix it. It's Gorilla. I mean, they're some of the best in the business, but um, yeah, that is the one issue I've seen so far in that game. Just that, and then other than that, it seems like pretty flawless for an early demo of that game. I mean, it looks like a wicked fun game, so I can't wait to actually play it. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, all in all, like, I thought it was a pretty good event, and like you said, they are saving stuff for PlayStation or Paris Games Week, but I hope the price cut combined with the couple games they announced kind of gives it a real boost in Japan, so they because I mean they already dominate the United States,
Hmm.
comparatively to where they were at with PS3. Europe, they're absolutely destroying Xbox One. If they have
Yeah.
like a really solid boost from Japan and really start selling well there as what too, I would expect them to really just pull away and make this not even a contest anymore.
Yeah, I think they already are kind of. But yeah, the Japan would definitely help. It's just kind of weird to me that the PS4 isn't an instant success over there. Like I didn't realize that they were that particular about getting Japanese type games because they do play Western stuff, but I think a lot of it is to do with their kind of weird movement to the mobile and handheld games. Like
Right.
it seems just so weird to me that that a 3DS would ever sell more in a week than a PS4 would. Like it's just the complete opposite of over here. And same thing with the mobile stuff. Like Konami moving to mobile, it's like it just sucks, and it's just kind of weird to see happen. But I personally don't even think that stuff is gonna last because, as you know, pretty much anyone that's played mobile games knows, there's no comparing it to a game with physical controls. So, um, and even 3DS, like it's just like a couple generations behind as far as the production quality. So, I think once the PS4 gets some more Japanese type games, hopefully it'll finally be where it belongs, which is in the lead. But or just selling well. I mean, not necessarily in the lead, but yeah, that's about it. Definitely looking forward to Paris Games Week, and hopefully some of the other rumors that we've heard will come true there. But that's
Right.
about it. All right. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.